The rest of you might have seen the output at least. So let me first show the output, how exactly it looks like and what we are trying to do here. So this is basically for optical character recognition. I think that's the one base uh, platform that brings everybody here. Navneet, for us, it is also search, right? We'll also have a search catalog where we also, you know, index all the files and do a search on top of that. And there are, anyways, we'll have different aspects to that. But the major part is here. You can add a book. It could be PDF. It is PDF based currently, but for our project, we should be able to modify in such a way that PDF and images can be added, right? So you add, and these are like anyways configurable parameters. Since this was based on some project that we are working for a digital library, here you can add the book title, author, etc., etc., and then you do a submit. You can choose a PDF file and do a submit. Once that is done, it will be added to the catalog, and we can all see that here. Once that is done, once we add the catalog, there is a backend process that we need to do. So this PDF could be a scanned copy. It could be anything. But I was facing some error in that. One minute. Should work. I don't know why it is not working. So these are also some diagnostic tools that we need to help. Whenever something is not working, you look at the client side and then server side, and then also the inspect the tool to find out where exactly the error is. Varun, maybe you will later come to know what is client side and server side, etc. Ideally, this should work, but there is some error. So I'm going to restart everything. Making some changes to the code. I think It's not getting displayed. Uh, is it working for somebody else? Ishit, do you have a working model that you can quickly share?
Sir, like I had a working model, but currently I'm on a Windows system only. I was
Okay.
working today itself only, and it was working fine.
Y- Yeah, sir. Same with me. Like I'm on Windows right now.
Hitesh or Prakriti?
I have the old version, not the current version. I didn't set it up actually. Had like had some medical reasons last few days, so I haven't been
Okay.
able to look into this.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why mine is not working. Anyways, Varun, Navneet might also have seen it. But Varun, maybe we can take a look at it again later. I'll just change the
Yeah,
code
yeah,
once.
sure, sir. It's not a problem.
Okay. So, anyways, the
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
is you will have once you upload the image, and in the backend, what you need to do is you will run. Let's say this is once you upload it, you go to the backend. There is no UI for this. Maybe perhaps you can have one. So in that, if you go, or take notes if you want. According to them, no structure. So there is something called a spy code folder in which many files are there related to this. You can even translate books if you're not going there. Let's say I wanted to. Let's say you scanned a copy and you convert that into a PDF and you upload it. Once you upload it, you can do this execution. Oops, sorry. So all this virtual environment activation and all comes into play. Oh, I think the merge from Hitesh or Sudarshan, that's maybe creating something. I need to
Yeah, I
check it
think.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you run from the original one, Sandhi only? Like there's error in this
Um,
code.
Sir, in the newer version, we'll have to change that OCR editor in a lot of places. In some places there is OCR hyphen editor in the PyCode files, the Python files, and that's creating an error.
Yeah.
Uh,
okay. No,
because of
it's
that
okay.
hyphen, yes.
I'll check out older version. Maybe that's the problem. I see. Yeah, yeah, that could be the problem. So let's. So also, this will be useful for you if you want to go back to an older version of the commit. So you can copy that commit ID and do a checkout. Yeah, see, I'm connected via VPN. Unfortunately, while looking at the code, we can go back. I'm just showing the screen, but maybe the code will look from the GitHub. I just want to give a context quickly. and since my other laptop I'm connected via VPN, VPN of IIT Bombay, it does not work well. Yeah. Anyway, so if I do now, let's say, so if once I upload, you can see you can enter the path, and all that I need to change. Anyways, you can enter the path. It will give you the you can it will list the file number, PDF ID. You can give that, and you can select a language and do a OCR on that. When you do OCR like that, so if you look at the PDF structure, maybe demo, I think most of you will have for a one. I'll come back later. Now let's get into the code. What each one does this. Each code it does, so that we can go from there. So is my screen visible? So the entire
sir.
project is divided into two modules. One is the server module and another one is the client module. And there is something called as PyCodes where the backend codes will be running. So when we go to the front end module, the front end module is called as client. So this is based on completely React, a new version of React, where you will have these app.tsx. I give it to you on how to explore this, what exactly. But the major important part is the components. So a React page, let's consider this one particular page, will be will be compiled of different components. For example, this OCR editor can be one single component, or this window can be one component, and within that there can be different components, and within that it's a component based architecture. Okay, so all the entire the entire app is built on this component. So if you go to the app.tsx, it will have how the component is. So the path. So you will have a path which you will type on top of the address bar. If you remember, whenever you do localhost /3000, I ask you to give /CLI, right? So that comes from this specification. So only when the root path is CLI, it will go to this particular component. The component is called as nav, and within that, there is something called as book catalog list. A component called book catalog. Which is like a one, one complete. I wish I have taken some screenshots so that you can compare it. Anyways.
It's another custom component, right?
Yeah, books catalog is a custom component. We'll come to the component later. But basically, based on the address bars, what we give in the address bar. For example, if I give localhost 3000 /CLI/page view, it will go to the particular component. That's what this does. So there are three pages: search page, books catalog, and page viewer. Books catalog is where we see the list. You saw the list. You upload, and then once it's uploaded, you saw the list, right? Everything is within the books catalog. So that's the structure of this. So two major components that you'll be working is page viewer and books catalog, where page viewer will be the major part. Books catalog is a little part of it. So let's go to the page viewer component. So once in the components, in fact, there is also Redux. Have you guys got in touch with the concept of Redux? how the data is shared.
No, Redux have not
No.
touched yet.
Yes.
Especially
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, Redux is a important part. Okay, we'll try to cover it to some time now. See, maybe we can do it in parts. I'll explain about the components now. Maybe tomorrow one I'll also tweak the code so that it's correct, and with the demo we can look at the Redux part, because that itself will take a lot of time. So you see, we have uh, two components here already, and then another component, page view. So components can be either folders or one file. Books catalog and search page is pretty simple, so I've added it here. Let's go to the books catalog. So these are all variables, functional components, states, hooks. I'm not going to go into that. If you have specific doubts, we can go there. But once you start reading it, you'll understand, and you need not understand it in depth. Once you start working on it, you'll understand. So, for example, let's go to the view. There is always something called as return function. So these are functional components. In React, functional components always are written as function. For example, this is a function called books catalog, and function always returns value, and that value is nothing but what are called as the TSX components. These are like HTML tags, but they cannot be directly called as HTML. They are also components within components. So there is something called as modal components, right? Modal components is once you click that, you get the pop-up window of upload a file, right? That modal will come here. In that you can see there are forms. In forms, you can enter the title, and once you enter the title, there is something called as handle input change function that is called. Whenever you make the title, there basically what we are doing is we are setting the value. Whatever you type, those values will be both added as well as printed in the form. So in React, it's not like default HTML forms where if you just add a input box, it will be present. You need to do some kind of manipulation. So these are the functions that you have. There is handle input, there is handle book submit. So this is the major part. Where once you submit a button, once you upload all the details, and when you submit a button, basically it creates a form data and a book URL. Book URL. Now you know why you are exporting, the React App Server URL, because it will try to take that address from here. So the address can be dynamic. If you don't know, we'll come back to the server later. /books. So all the form data goes here to this, and then you get a response. So these are like functions. Axios is a plugin. So all that I think those who are working deeper in this can understand it, and as you go, you can understand. So you simply send a book URL and form data and some config files, which is multi-part form data. Do you know why we are using multi-part form data? You know what is it used for? This is plain HTML. Have you come across this?
No, sir. I'm not.
So whenever you are submitting a file, you should give this headers. These are
And this
HTTP protocols.
divides the files, right?
Correct. Divides the file form into multi-part.
Yes, yes.
And this needs to be given whenever you give a file. If a long data is passed as a form data, then you have to give this part. But if you look at the code, you will understand. So there is a submit form, and then there is a submit button. All that goes. You on close. What should be happening? And there is something called as alert. Alert will show only when there is a show alert is true. Show alert is a Boolean flag. Why would you show an alert? So if the response is success, if you submit and the response is success, you set show is equal to true. Like I said, show alert is a boolean flag, so it will set true, and the variant will be success, the variant will be danger. So these are the ways to, for example, if there is an error, you could have seen that and red color message will be popped up. If there is a green success, there will be green color. So all those are manipulations of the same function. The set alert and all this is called as hooks in React. So you can create this state where you will have a variable and how to alter that variable using a function, right? Uh, those things again, once you understand the React framework itself only, you'll understand. But basically, that's what it does. So you have a submit button, which is a modal. It's a modal component. The modal component is actually a plugin from React Bootstrap. React Bootstrap is a third-party library. So like this, we'll be using different third-party libraries. So the modal, let's go to the actual part. You can see that there is a container, there is row, and there is a table in which, you know, we are first displaying the number, title, author, and category. Once that is done, what we are doing is we are creating something called as tr item. Okay, so tr item is where the actual you know, the list of the books will be displayed. Okay, and if you go to tr item variable, it's nothing but it maps to book item such that the th is index, td. These are like table tags, right? In a table HTML tag, you will have this. So, and there is a key value which is a unique ID. Why we wanted it? Once when you click it, it will go to the client page view with the unique ID. So when you click a book, you can see on top of that it goes to page view with the unique ID as a query passed. So what is book item again? If you go to another function, so this is how you also should go to it. There is something called as refresh book list. This will be called a number of times. For example, use effect. Use effect is once a page loads, automatically this function will be called. Again, these are React hooks that you need to know. And again, this refresh book list will be called when you upload a book. So basically, refresh book means it will fetch the list of books from the server. You can see that the server address is given and there is /books, so that there is a disconnect between what is happening in the client and what is happening in the server. The server can do anything, but ultimately it should send us a JSON response. I will urge you to take a look at this in a more detailed way. If you can right click, for example. I hope I can show. Maybe I'll show a working demo again tomorrow. In that we can see how exactly the information is passed. Right? You give the URL and get a response. If the response is any error, you pop up a message. Else you simply set online book list to the response data. So this is how you should browse the a component. Does it making is it making sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
if you
Yes.
okay, so this is for the books catalog. The major one that we will be all working, and especially the front end team, if you're working, will be working, modifying is this. You see, page view has again different components. There is toolbar, there is page view, there is image view, there is HOCR view, and again within that there is component of HOCR layer. This is a little complex because did you guys see that you can highlight if you hover an image, the box that is detected will be highlighted both on the left side and the right side, right? That is because of these different components that was built. So it's now while I code, I did not realize, but now when I try to explain, I understand it might be a little complex procedure. So for example, when we go to a page view, so page view is where you display all the page, and this is where this page view is what is called in the app component, right? So if you look at the page view, it returns again. It's a functional component, so it returns a HTML tag as this component as one function, as a value of function. And there you can see that there is a nav bar. You can take a look at what exactly the CS structure here is. This is where the top view is there. Okay, Sandhi page viewer that will be displayed on top. You can again, look at the code as well as the page to understand what exactly is happening. But the major part is first is the toolbar. So toolbar is again a component in which you need to pass something. What is the current age? And there is this dispatch comes from the Redux concept. Maybe we can see it later. The way to update some values in React is completely a different concept in the React Redux is handled. And there is also some zoom values that we are passing. Toolbar is what you see on the top. I don't know if you remember. You can go to left page, right page. You can plus. You can do a zoom, plus zoom, and right zoom. Right. That toolbar is this component, and for that you need to pass some values. In components, you can pass values as these attributes. So, and this is where the left image and right image is presented. So the image is displayed as something called as Conva component. So there is something called as React Conva. React Conva is based on on a plugin called Conva.js. Conva.js is used to draw, like a Canva board, dynamic Canva board. Have you heard about HTML5 canvas? You can do a lot of manipulations in a canvas. So since the image we need to display this highlights, we use, for example, if you want to make a Adobe kind of online editor, you can use this canvas. Right? For example, demos here, you can do a free drawing. You can see planet image map, physics simulator. All this is done using this Conva.js. So this is one framework that we use for our project, like just the image. So when we look at the image has a stage. In Conva, you have a stage, and on stage you can draw different layers. So we have two layers for that. One layer is just the image. You can see the attribute that we are doing for page images, state.page image. It is where all the state of the current application will be stored. Which page, which maybe we take a look at Redux variables later. But we are passing which image that you want to display, and what is the height, the width. This will be based on the zoom. So what you see as zoom is nothing but you change the height and width of the image, so that it look like zoomed part. Okay. So this layer is for image, and we are having another layer which is called as HOCR. So this HOCR is where the highlight works. So based on the bounding box of the HOCR document, I don't know if you've seen a HOCR document. Let me see. Try to take one. If we take a HOCR document, so we will be dealing with from Tesseract only the HOCR document. This is from an actual. You can see that as an image here. right? This image is actually one for our project that we are doing, a Bank of Baroda circular. You see that the image has some English text. We did a OCR on top of this. When you did do an OCR, let's see if the OCR text is the same. It's not. Okay. We only have. I think is the entire screen. If not, let me know. So you can see here there is image of Bank of Baroda, and there is this Bank of Baroda. Each has a span, something called a span, and it has a class called OCRX word because it says it's a word, and there is something called as confidence level. It is 96% confident that the word is Baroda, and there is something called as B box. B box is nothing but the bounding box. It's a polygon, more specifically a rectangle box, and the first two digits uh, identify the x0 and the y0 component, and last two identify the x1 and y1 component. So like that, for each of the word you can have a bounding box. This is what the HOCR document gives us. So basically what this HOCR layer does, it manipulates this HOCR document and draw for each of this word. Whenever it will create a tag, we'll go to the code. So this is clear, right? I hope this is clear how the bounding boxes are created from OCR. Guys, I
Ye-
you guys are
yes, sir.
following.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So so there is an image, and from image you create you do an OCR and you get this HOCR document, which is nothing but a HTML file. Once you have that, you do a HOCR layer in which you actually take the corresponding. See, you send the page image, and also you send some information. There is a dispatch which gives you from where to retrieve it. Now let's go to the HOCR. So this is the page view. In page view, you have a canvas. In canvas, you have a stage. In stage, you have two layers. One that displays a. This is for the left side. One that displays a image on the left, and its corresponding another layer, which is nothing but a HOCR layer, where this HOCR will be displayed. And for the another right side, there is something called as HOCR view, which is nothing but the actual HTML file. Again, there you need to do this highlight. So even if you hover over the image, it will highlight both the images on the left side and right side, and the same thing will happen on the right side. So to do that is only these two components does. Okay. In fact, there is I missed this part. I need to add it later also. You can also display the status, like how if you have a window below, it will show number of loading, etc. All that is our user experiences that can be done, but you can build as a component. Each one can be built as component. So we have seen a page view. Page view has a lot of functions. There is something handle zoom, how to set a zoom. These are measures. It will automatically measure a tab, a tag, for example, image tag, or one HTML tag. You can take it and measure currently what's the height and weight, because this will be used for zoom. Just give me a minute. Somebody trying to get admitted. Okay, anyways. So that is what page view does. So let's go to HOCR layer, which is another component. So you should see everything as one component. Okay. So if you go to the HOCR layer component, yeah, it does a lot of stuff. You can see, you also see what and all it imports, etc. So this is a function for actually, doing this highlight of words. It's a quite you need to go through it to understand it. Basically, you take the bounding box and have a ratio with how much it's zoomed in, and based on that you have this something called as x y. What's the current x and y? And there is something called as stroke enabled. So stroke enabled is whenever the hover id is equal to its corresponding id of the tail, then it will return true. Okay, so when this stroke enabled function will get activated is when you do a mouse enter and mouse leave. So these are like inbuilt function. Basically what the logic is, when you are in an image, let's say you are here, whenever I enter, a mouse enters this Bank of Baroda, right? Bank of Baroda is there. So whenever I enter this particular word, for every time there is this event that is triggered, but when I enter is, there is a unique ID for this, right? You can check the ID. You can see that ID is here. So I check if you have reached that ID, if the mouse has reached in an area where that ID is present. If it is present, then I create a stroke of red. Okay, this is a very high level logic, but once you get into it, you understand. So that a stroke will be enabled, and whenever I leave, then the stroke will be not enabled. So this is one function which will run like a loop for word. Okay, this is a very important component for you to read so that we can understand how to hover whenever we go through a different word, and how can we manipulate it, how can we make it richer, etc. Okay, so lines will be, so if you look at the layer itself, the layer will have lines element. Lines element is nothing but a rectangle component, and within that rectangle component it will display something called as render word function. This render word function will return again word element. You can see render word function. Yeah, this is a function. It does nothing but maps to a element. This element will be based on the words present in that. Okay, all these are keywords. Maybe you should learn if you're familiar. If you get familiar with React and get this, so maybe you need to view this video time and again. But ultimately, the logic is very simple. You have a layer. Layer will display lines. Line will display fragment, which is nothing but a rectangle. That rectangle will have words within, an array of words. That array of words also is in the same logic, where you take a child and map it to the word elements, and that calls a different function to highlight and to draw stroke, to create a mouse event. These are events, right? Events in HTML. When to enable the border, when to disable the border. So a page view has a image component in which there is a different layers. We saw the image layer. The right side is very simple, which is the HOCR view. Here also we follow the same concept, where lines will display. So you display a line. In fact, this is an addition that I'm making. It's not actually like this. Why is it in master? It should not be master anyways. The React quill is what exactly Ishit and Prakriti I want you to work with.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very,
I
very
read about that.
Yeah, it's very simple. You see, it might look complex, but once you get into the code, the logic, it gets simpler. Basically, you display a list of lines within that. Lines is nothing but a span called OCR line, within which there are array of words, and array of words is called in this function. So for each for each child of line, that is for each line, you get the words, and word does the same thing. it maps a word element which is nothing but ultimately again another span called OCR word, in which you have this mouse enter and mouse leave events again. So it's like nested loops, right? Same like how it's given here. Here it will be given like there is C area, there is paragraph, there is line, but you simply consider line, and each line will have multiple words within. So line will have, for example, Bank of Baroda is one, three words within a span called OCR line. So basically, you do a nested loop. So for this line, you do render these words. Next line, for example, next line is what? Oh, I don't know what is O. I think it's a mistake. But let's go to the next word. So 588. These are different words that is present in the image. Yeah. BCC, BR 113588. So all that when it is OCR'd, it will come as ultimately boils down to lines and words within the lines, and this is what we are trying to display it using the components there. Okay, so this is about the components. There is also some library functions these components will call, that is there in utils. Yeah, this util will be used for creating image actually. Given an image, see, rendering image in React is also a little different. All this will be see, load image utility. It's just to use for loading the image. Let's look at the OCR. That lib also is missing here. Maybe that is also an error. There is a lot of changes that has been made here. Imagine. Give me a minute. You need to do some changes anyway. So there is a within SRC there is something called as library folder. So do OCR is not does nothing but uh, it 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 fetches a HOCR URL and pass it to the again some kind of Ajax. I hope you know Ajax, but basically it will send a request to the server, and then so HOCR will be built again based on this React. Okay, it's called in some of the component, so it will just fetch that image HOCR URL in which will return a text. So that text will be passed and sent as a parse page function. Again, parse page is a function. All this you just have to keep access and use it when it is needed. Basically, you try to manipulate with if there is a OCR page. So HOCR will have the first topmost is OCR page. You take that class and you try to gather the paragraphs, and within the paragraph you try to gather lines, right? And then it will return something called as this a type. What is a type? It's a page. And what is the B box? All the B box of this attribute. And children is all the lines and words. So line ZL, if you go to line ZL, you understand. It's like again nested loop. Basically, the ultimate aim is that given a HTML file, how do you convert that into a React class, React component? That's what this utility function does. So you might have to work here and there. So as you go, you will understand that. Another most important part that you need to understand is the types that we'll be dealing with here. So types tell you what are the variables that we'll be using. So there is something called as page image info, which has what is the current height, current width, what's the original height and original width. This is used for zooming in. URL is where exactly the image is stored. And there is something called as HOCR page. HOCR page is nothing but OCR container of pages. I'm not going to go into this in much detail because it's class and extensions. I don't know if you have object-oriented lessons and template. This is a template. Have you heard about templates in OOP concepts? Or
Yes,
is it
sir.
too much? Okay. So yeah, these are using templates. For example, the same OCR container can have pages or line or caption or text float. This is a template. What is the OCR container? It will have an element and it will have children's. So a line can have words as children. A page can have, uh, you know, the lines as children. And word will have nothing but what's the size, what's the confidence, what's the language, and what's the text. Where string is written twice. Hello, can you tell me where string is
In that
written twice?
OCR page exchange OCR container, maybe he's talking about that. Line number 30, 33 and 34.
Yeah, it's a mistake, obviously. Sorry. So these are like small changes we can make. I was supposed to make it into something else. I think I wanted to add one more information, but maybe I forgot. Title version. What else do we need for this for any page? Let's go there. Yeah, we have a B box and we have a page number. Maybe I forgot that, but it's not needed for now. So it's a redundant information. So there is this types, and I think we'll stop it for now. We'll go into Redux concepts later. Redux is actually quite complex. I don't know unless we are in par with Redux concept. I don't want to go in here. Once you understand, it's one of the easiest thing. But until then, even for me, it was a struggle in the beginning. So we'll pause it here. I think at least this gives you an understanding of the components, right? Where exactly to go, especially for Prakriti, Ishit, and Varun. If you're going to work with React, if I ask, see, if you wanted to make editable, basically what you need to go to do is go to components, page view, and HOCR view, and change here. Here is where all the changes need to done, and based on whatever you are changing here, maybe the rest of the places we need to do some changes. So the two places that will be working is page view and HOCR view and HOCR layer. Slowly. Do you get the components concepts? What's happening in the code?
Yes.
In fact,
Yes, sir.
yeah, this you have to map with your knowledge about React. Then it's actually pretty straightforward. I didn't know it will take this much of time. I was thinking I'll cover server also. Can we do a server quickly? 10 minutes more.
Yes, sure.
Server is also.
Sure, sir.
So that's front end, right? See, you see, front end actually is a standalone component by itself. All it needs to know is where to get its respective information, where to get the image, where to get the HOCR file, and once that is given, that's done. And if you want to display the book list, where to get that, etc., etc. That's not a problem. Then let's go to the server. server actually is very very simple. In fact, the easiest of the two, at least I mean code wise. So again, I will not go into the the Flask part, but basically you can see that you have two routes, client and client page view. See, this is because it will come later in production. Mm, so, when we run, currently we are running React frontend as npm start and a Python Flask as startup shell script or Python 3 app.py, right? But actually, if you run just Python 3 app.py, even the client will work. That's where this path mentioned. So, for example, app root, whenever you do a CLI, it will actually go to as a place called static folder and index.html. So that is nothing but the compiled version of this React.js. So if you go to static and index, so what this index has is whatever we create in the front end, that will be compiled. I think this I told you even last time. I don't know, to some students. This is nothing but whatever we are doing in the front end, that will be compiled into one single HTML page and will be pasted here. So ultimately only server will run and you can access that. Okay, so that's what app does. So whenever you do a serve and you go to these two paths from the root path, it will try to access the client. Apart from that, you have something called as config, which we all know. For Varun, I think this is also given in the installation instruction. MongoDB and Sandhya, this is where you need to change, right? Instead of Mongo, can we have a SQLite, which is much easier one? You need not.
Yes, sir.
This is where you should change. So again, there is a different configuration that is as Python file. Maybe we need to change this as some XML or JSON file. We can take a look at that later. So for the first part is the MongoDB itself. So instead of MongoDB, if you are creating, let's say, SQLite, you will have another folder called SQLite and call these functions, right? It's very very simple. So you create a engine, database engine, and initialize that with whatever. See, if you do this, whatever configuration you are giving in the app, that will be taken for the Mongo engine. And if you go to the app, there we'll actually mention it as again configuration. You see, we are taking configurations from there, which is nothing but this is where it should go for MongoDB's path. So similarly, we should do for SQLite. Okay, so you initialize DB like that, and there is something called as initialize roots. These are built-in functions of Flask. If you give this API, it makes our life simpler. You just have to write a REST program. Rest of it, the Flask will take care. So you see, Mongo initialization is just 1 or 2 lines, and models is again very simple. So I have a model called book. Book is nothing but ID, title, author, full path, number of pages, and is indexed or category. This is very simple. Whatever we are given there, we are giving here, right? And in fact, even category, I have a different one. All this can be manipulated, but ultimately the concept is the same. So this is where the models and DB comes, right? Then let's go to the libraries. If the library stores doc. If you want to add a PDF document, this function will be called for that. So you see, Sandhi library input / the file name.pdf, and you simply save that. And once you save it, and the saving will be based on something called as the file name is actually a book ID. So we'll go to the function and see how this is called. So this is a utility. Simply you give a file name and a file, it will store it in that particular path of Sandhi library book. So MongoDB is done, library is done, config is done, and API. API is nothing but REST API. So if you look at the roots, so here we are defining the REST root, API roots. I hope, else you should read more about REST. This is where the REST comes in. This is how you call the REST API, right? At least some of you are familiar with it. Ishit, I saw you were familiar with it.
Yes, yes,
Varun, I don't
yes.
know.
I've worked on this before also.
You should really work on this REST API. So books, if you give books, it will call a class called books API. But if you call the same URL book slash some string here, which I have called it with a variable called ID, it will call a book API. So books API, book API. There are two classes. We look at the classes there. Again, let's forget about the search query handler. That Navneet will take care later. There is image API and HOCR API. Very simple. Image means this is the path. IB, what's the book ID, what's the page, and what's the page number. If you give this, it will give you the page number, right? So there are 4 classes that's being called here. And you can go to the classes. So let's go to book. So like I said, if it is just books, that's called as get, and there is post for submitting something. This is just a simple REST concept. I have not done anything extra. And there is also book API. For example, you can add a book, delete a book, and get a book. Very simple. I'm just calling them. All that other manipulation is done by the REST framework. So here you can see that adding to dictionary, right? This is called when you post a book. When you post a file with all the required book information, it will extract that from the from the HTML HTTP post if the request method is post, and then you simply add it to you know if there's book or no author, all that validation is done. I'm creating a unique ID here for each book, and I'm passing that unique ID as a book, and then I'm doing a book save. Once you upload it to a disk, then I save it also in the database. So Sandhya, this is where you need to change all that. All that will be actually same even for SQLite. Just need to go
Yes,
through
sir.
this, okay?
Yeah.
And you return 200. 200 is success, and that's where you can. If you look at all the terminal, this is how it's going. Okay? Books API, book API. This will give you the books detail, book detail. Where is the image and the HOCR given? It's in the book resources. So HOCR API, it simply gets the BID, which is a book ID and page ID, and it will get the full path of the book from given the UUID. And once it gets the UID, this is where it converts into a path. And this is the bug that we sometimes might face. I think Navneet has faced this. Sometimes if there is only 2 zeros, I'm making changes to this bug. Once you enter this, you'll understand what's a bug, because it's hard coded. Basically, output files is where the HOCR is saved. You simply get that file and return the resource path. Okay. If it is a file, you send a file, which is what it will does. If the file is not found, it throws an error. Image is the same function. Instead of HOCR, you send a JPEG. Right? One of the easiest once you understand Flask is the server part.
Yes, sir.
But we need to work only on the server part more. For example, for Sudarshan and Hitesh, did you MedAC? Did I give you MedAC reference?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So basically, this is where you should write another function in which, if they ask for some extraction of text, you should find out its HOCR, get its text, and then pass it to another Python file, get the result, and then pass it. You understand? So you'll write simply another function like this.
Okay, sir.
I mean, I understand. It's maybe mapping it is could be difficult. Once you get your hands dirty, you'll get this. But I hope you all get a like overview picture of what is happening, right? Where to look for if you want to change a code, if you have a bug.
So,
You can
and
take a
like for the part which you suggested, like I think won't we be changing it in the PyCode file, PyCode folder, and
no. It has to be done dynamically. No, For every yeah, okay. If you want to do it offline for all the images, if you want to convert, extract it, that's fine. Yeah, we can begin there. See, the problem is, what if they change the field? If they want a specific date only, that we can come later. But that's a good suggestion. We can do it also in PyCode. We can begin doing it in PyCode. And PyCode is very simple. I think we all had taken a look at that. Just for Varun,
Yeah.
quickly, it's you simply write a Python file to call a library called Tesseract. What this Tesseract does it? So there is a PDF to image library that will convert a given PDF into its corresponding image files, which we are doing it here. And then once that is done, the PyTesseract library converts image to HOCR or string. String is nothing but the just text file, and you store it and save it. So these are like movable working components together, which forms the project we will be working on. So specifically front end, back end, the assignment that you have taken, you try to understand, try to run, try to tweak and change, fork the repository to your, like how I have done. In fact, I'll do another fork. But anyways, you can fork it, work in your code. Whenever you are facing any error, you can always tweak it, revert it back, and try a lot of times and get familiar with your part of the code. Okay. Sandhya, if you could do this SQL conversion faster, maybe we can look at better things. You can also join with Hitesh or maybe Ishit and Prakriti based on front end or like.
Okay, sir. I mean, once I go through the Sandhi books DB, then I'll be finishing, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Contents of Sandhi books DB.
Yeah. See, basically, we are also converting all that into OCR. OCR.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope there is some rough idea. I'll share this recording. Once you're taking a look at it, you can understand this.